everybody. Come on in. Come on in to our session. As your warm up and as you are coming in, we just want to say good afternoon. Hope you all had a fabulous, fabulous day today. And for your warm up, for those of you who did not get an opportunity to do our survey for our EdCamp today, if you could just take a moment and if we can have someone to drop that link in our chat, we can have everybody to share their thoughts and ideas regarding some topics that you may be interested in discussing with your colleagues, or some topics that you just want to know more about. So again, as you all are coming in, we have a warm up on the screen. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're happy to have you all for our March 30th ETL PDLT meeting. So we'll just take a couple of minutes just to give some of you the opportunity to complete the survey. And I'm the driver for today, so I'm hoping I'm going to do this well because I put it in presenter view. This is new for me. I'm used to it hijacking your whole screen. You can't see anything else. So hopefully this works out. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Can we put the survey link again? Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to those of you who've already taken time to fill out our survey today. Again, this is for us to have some discussions later on in our session regarding some topics that you may feel that you have some knowledge, some good knowledge around, and then some topics that you are interested in learning more about. So it is 4:32. We could take maybe just maybe 30 more seconds. So those of you, I know many of you had an opportunity to complete the form prior to our time together this evening. So we're just going to give just a little while longer. All right, I think we are good. And we will continue to monitor this as we go along so that we can be prepared. Later on, we go into our EdCamp. So with that, again, I want to say welcome to our ETL PDLT meeting for today, March 30th, 2022. So on our agenda today, we have two parts. In our first part, we are going to take some time to just look back at some of our previous objectives that we've gone over with you as just a refresh. And then we're going to have an introduction of Book Creator. And we're going to actually give you some opportunity to experience Book Creator. And then part two of our time, we're going to participate in our EdCamp session. And I know some of you may be wondering what is EdCamp, but we will share more about that. So for the logistics, our exposure to Book Creator, we're going to share the information and hopefully it will pique your interest. so that then when we get into some breakout groups, we will have some of you who Book Creator is new for you. So you will go into our room 1 with getting started. And then those of you who already have some experience with Book Creator, you will go into our advanced features session. So we wanted to make sure we differentiated the sessions for you all so that everybody could walk away with something new. And then, as I said, our part 2 for EdCamp, we will go over some of the norms and logistics for EdCamp. So we'll show a little video and make sure everybody's familiar with how we're going to proceed with participating in the EdCamp. And then you will be able to self-select breakout groups. So those of you who said, you know, I know something about this topic, you will go into that room and you will have some time to share your thoughts and ideas. And those of you who said you wanted to learn more about certain topics, you'll get to choose what those topics are. So you'll be able to go in to that breakout group. So today, some of the things we want you to be able to walk away with is, 1, we want you to learn about Book Creator, which is a digital tool to apply what we've been discussing this year with our Literacy Plan 2.0 Strategy 3 around communication and other objectives that we have discussed. So you'll be able to apply this skill. And then we also want you to have the opportunity to share some of your own best practices and discuss some questions with your like-minded colleagues through our formal discussion in our EdCamp. So this will give you all some time to be, you know, the presenter in your groups. And remember, this is not for you to be the sage on the stage, but to offer your knowledge and understanding of certain topics. So with that, I'm going to turn it over and we will go into our first part of our session for today.
Good evening. So before we go into our session, just look back at where we've been. And aligning our work so that we can empower our students. We started with our Literacy Plan 2.0, which is driven by our student profile. We have 5 key attributes that we want our students to leave Prince George's County Public Schools with. We want them to be global citizens, be able to communicate, critical thinkers, creators and innovators, as well as goal-oriented. And how do we get there? Well, that brings in our literacy skills and strategies. With that focus on Literacy Strategy 3, communicating for a variety of purposes using digital platforms and media. In the past, we also talked about our ISTE standards and how they're connected to the content standards. And we looked at the designer standard. Really, how are we designing and creating those learning activities for students that are driven for students to help them get to those key attributes? So in doing that, Victoria, if you can go to the next slide. What we focused on in our last training was we revisited the PIC-RAC framework for technology that we introduced last year. So on our last session, we were able to take a little deeper dive into the PIC-RAC and looked at how it aligned to Strategy 3. We reflected on, basically we used that PIC-RAC strategy on to reflect on our practices as teachers and how we integrate meaningfully technology use. And the way we did that and how we compared that, how we aligned that with Strategy 3 is we got a chance to look at Mr. Downing and his acting skills. He portrayed a social studies teacher introducing a new lesson where some of us were his students. And we looked at that lesson and we looked at how it fell on the PIC-RAC framework. We broke out into groups so that we could also discuss how we could move that lesson along the continuum. So I think we had great conversations in doing that, looked at other ways and what could have been done in those lessons. After we looked at the PIC-RAC strategy, we then talked about, next slide, Victoria. We looked at a protocol, a coaching protocol, and how you could help your colleagues with challenges. So we looked at the Gripe Jam. We broke into groups, looked at the Gripe Jam, used that, where we took your thoughts about what we were given a scenario, used that to see where it would fall on the Gripe Jam. And then we talked about also how we could have coaching conversations with our colleagues. Next slide, Victoria. So what we did is we took a quiz to see what kind of listeners we were. And once we identified the type of listeners that we were able to take the pause, paraphrase, and ask questions protocol. So we could take that, share that with the colleague who volunteered to share their challenge in the Gripe Jam session. And what we did was another person volunteered to ask questions, well, pause, to paraphrase, and ask questions and apply their active listening strategies with the colleagues, along with allowing all of us to share in what we thought. And so that brings us to where we are today. Victoria. So in our last sessions, this is our 4th session, we were able to look at the Google Slides. That was our focus tool, and other tools that we could use to help us with our digital literacy strategy, number 3, looking at various platforms to help our students communicate. And today we're going to look at Book Creator. So part of your end of the year celebration and our next upcoming meeting, the ETL requirement, as well as the PDLT sharing, is what we want to know is, how did your school spark change this school year? You're going to use a page in the collaborative book creator that we're going to provide for you. We'll have one for the ETLs as well as one for the PDLTs. You're going to share your celebrations from your school. You're going to include details about your book. Well, details about your book will be shared on your online community. And your completed books will be shared in our final meeting in June. So today, part of our meeting, we'll be discussing how to use Book Creator and what you will be doing for that next meeting. So now I'm going to turn it over.
So yes, took me a minute to take over the screen share. Did I select the right screen? Sorry, my screen froze. Okay, so our tool that we're going to be focusing on is a Book Creator. And Book Creator is a tool that we have available in our district, and it can be found as a website or an app. It is available on both platforms. However, we are recommending using the website because the app requires you to purchase it, and it's not connected to the same thing. Whatever you do on the website may not show up on the app. They're considered as 2 different platforms. So what is Book Creator? It allows you to create books, comics, journals, and authentic learning artifacts. And we have a list here of things of why Book Creator is a great tool to use with your students. It's easy to set up and make thinking visible, and allows you to show student understanding, allows students to share their work, and amplifies their student voice. In addition, you can have allow students to show higher order thinking skills and accessibility features. So when signing in, I'm going to be putting a link in chat in just a moment for you to try out to make sure that you are able to sign in. Copying the link here. The sign in link I'm going to give you is the one for the teacher side. Putting in chat now. So if you can go ahead and try out to make sure you're able to sign in, you'll be signing in through Google. Make sure you're choosing as a teacher, and you'll be selecting or putting in your PGCPS account. So I'm going to show here on my other screen. When you go to it, Sometimes when I go into it, it gives me straight to the student sign in, but there's a little blue link underneath that says switch to teacher. And you know you're in the teacher side because the screen is blue, the student side is yellow. And when you're signing in, you'll select sign in with Google. I'm already signed into my Google account, so I have here my PGCPS. I'm gonna select it, and then I'm signed in. So it may take you to, if you're doing it for the first time, you may be prompted to put in some profile information just to set it up for the first time. And it will take you to your dashboard. Your dashboard will look different from mine because I have several libraries. But in here are my libraries that I've created. And below that, you'll see libraries that you can join or you have already joined. So I'm just going to give everyone a moment to just make sure that they're able to sign in. And I'll put the link again in chat because we'll be going out into breakout rooms in just a moment. In a moment to take a look at how you can see how you can use Book Creator. So I'll just give about a minute to sign in.
Miss Toledo, Miss Santos, I'm sorry to voice this, but it's too hard to type it all out. I'm automatically signed into Book Creator because I'm already a user. Do I have to use the sign in that you're showing, or can I just go the way I normally go?
No, so the other way is, are you talking about through Clever?
Well, like I don't even have to go through Clever anymore. At some point, because I use it so much as a librarian, it's like it's kind of automatic. I don't even if that makes any sense. So I guess what I'm saying is, am I going to miss something if I don't use your sign-in link? Because it's already putting me in my account that has all my stuff in it. Or do I need to create a new account?
Just making sure you're using your PGCPS, because then that's where you're not limited. You have a certain amount of books in your library. So if I go to my account, I could do 1,000 books. That's the only thing. As long as you're Prince George's County, you're fine.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
So, and just to let you know also that you can also access Book Creator from Clever. We were just showing you the Google way, but you can also access through Clever as well, and your students can access as well from Clever. Okay, so going to go on to the next page. In a moment, I'm going to put this in chat for everyone to take a look at some examples of Book Creator. So this link here in chat, which is tinyurl.com/bookcreatorexamples. If you click on the images, it will show you some example books that other teachers have shared on Book Creator. The first one is an elementary example called It's Snowing Sight Words. The middle one is a middle school one on the respiratory system that the student created. And the last one is a high school example for World War II. So again, I'll put that link in chat for you to take a look at the different examples. Oops. Go back. Click on the images. First one will take you to a book, and you can select Read Now. And then you can navigate through the book by clicking on the arrows on each side. And you can see there's different examples of words, and there's video and audio recordings throughout the book. So I'll give you a moment to take a look at that. And as you're going through the different examples on each grade level, my screen, there we go. If you can share in chat, what did you notice from the examples, and what are some ways you can have your students use Book Creator? So I'll give everyone a moment to take a look at the 3 different examples and type in chat some of their wonderings. And please, in chat, make sure you're putting to everyone, because I may not be able to see if you're sending it directly to me. So I do see quite a few responses. So I see notice that a lot of student work and learning activities are used to create the book. There's multimodal digital literacies throughout the app that you can include. For example, like the images, the videos, and audio recordings. And how you can collect students' poetry in a group. These are all great ideas and notices from the different examples. And yes, there is so much that you could do with Book Creator and student creativity. So they could be printed. Someone asked if they can be downloaded into a PDF, or you can publish it and share it with others so they can see it electronically. And we'll talk more about that in our breakout sessions. Okay. You can continue adding your thoughts and ideas. But in a moment, I'm just going to explain what we're going to be doing in just a moment. I'll be opening out the breakout rooms so you can learn a little bit more about Book Creator. So we will have 2 rooms. One is getting started and the other one is advanced. So the getting started is just getting understanding of the platform and how to use the features, the basic features within Book Creator. And then the advanced, we'll talk more about the accessibility features and some new features that Book Creator has added recently. Okay. All right. So again, the rooms. So the first one is going to be getting started, Book Creator, and the advanced features in Book Creator. So if you can take a moment right now and think about which room you would like to join. So, and I'm going to set up the breakout room in just a moment. I have just opened the rooms and you can decide between going into getting started and advanced.
Welcome back, everyone. I know more people are joining us. I'll give everyone a few moments to come back to our main session. Hopefully, if you weren't familiar with Book Creator, you had an opportunity to see some of the features of the tool, and you can begin thinking about how you might use that in instruction. And if you were already familiar with Book Creator, hopefully you learned some advanced features or tips that you can use moving forward. Now we're going to go to part 2 of our meeting and kind of kick off our ETL PDLT EdCamp. Right, some of you may remember last year, around this time, we actually did an EdCamp in one of our meetings. We were preparing for hybrid and returning back. And so we had an EdCamp that allowed you time to get together in groups and discuss things that were important as we move back into a hybrid situation in our schools. And so we looked at categories like student engagement, classroom management, SEL, differentiation, and gave everyone time to discuss. And we heard from you that you really enjoyed that experience. So we wanted to do an EdCamp again this year. If you weren't with us last year and you're not familiar with what an EdCamp is, then this is an opportunity for you to learn a little bit more by watching this video. So we're going to watch a short video to get a feel about what usually happens in an EdCamp. So I'll let Victoria play the video. Doesn't sound like we have any sound.
When you come to EdCamp.
Can you hear?
It came up for a second.
Your standard professional development. You didn't get up early on a Saturday morning to sit through a lecture. When you come to EdCamp, what you're going to see, experience, and feel is the connection with other teachers. What you can expect to see in a word is magic. EdCamps are free. EdCamps are open to anyone who wants to attend.
I'm inspired. How about you? I'm told that there are people in the room who've never been to an EdCamp. Let's give them some love. Where are they? Show of hands. Wow! Never been to an EdCamp.
Just because you're at one doesn't mean there's not 10 others happening across the world.
Just a little bit of information. So the session board to my left was made by you. You choose where you're going to go to learn today.
Session boards represent the space where teachers are trying to personalize their own learning. The sessions are set up that day. A teacher can come there prepared to present or sit inside of the session, lean in with their voice. You might be great at working with tricky parents. You might be great at working with children who need mentors. Now you want to share the story. When most teachers think about professional development, they think about, how can I get out of it? The stereotype primarily is, why do we have to do this? Do we have to really go there?
How does this look? How do you do what's best for all kids? Not the kid that has nice manners. Right? The one that dress funny. Right? The one with all the freckles, the one that talks too much. I struggle getting students to sit down and start.
I want it to be a self-regulated group where the certain things gets to automatic.
I think it's almost impossible to have an emotionally responsive classroom in a building that's not emotionally responsive.
That's so lean in. Color coding denotes your degree of proficiency you have.
Does it create individualized lessons for kids?
We believe in the rule of 2 feet because you only are there to learn what you want to learn. If you are in a session and it's not meeting your needs, but there's a session that you saw on the session board that you might have wanted to also go to, you can get up and leave. No one is going to ask you to stay. You have the ability to get up and choose your learning. It's completely democratized. EdCamps are available to you if you want to go. Every EdCamp is unique, and they all reflect the community and the people who show up.
You're here, which is awesome. The fact that you're learning, which is really cool. But I really want you to connect with somebody. Okay, somebody you've never met before.
It's about every teacher. It's not just a specific teacher. There's no archetype to who's coming. If you are ready to learn and teach and you're ready to connect, we want you at camp with us.
It was so enjoyable to just hear him and that energy he has in class. That's what I want to give my kids. I want to come in with that energy so they can feed off of that, because I think that's great.
To see the diversity of teachers on every level, educators on every level, everybody had something to contribute, and it was really priceless.
At EdCamp, the most important person is you.
So hopefully that provided you a little bit more information about what an EdCamp is and how it works. So in that video you saw, when we have an EdCamp that's face-to-face, participants usually join in that day and create that session board together. In an online EdCamp, sometimes that survey part is done as part of the registration, or in our case, we send it out to you a little early to try and gather some of that information, but also provided you with the survey today so that you could add additional thoughts and the topics that you were interested in sharing, but also the things that you wanted to learn about. So as we move forward for our EdCamp today, let's just discuss some of our norms. Remember that it's participant driven. So it's about the people that join the session and everyone having a voice and being able to share information about whatever that topic is. There's no one person that is going to hold the mic and keep the session going for the whole time. We want everyone's opinions to be shared within this session. So it is participant driven. It's also not based on being an expert. You don't have to be an expert on the topic. It's more about your experience. What things have you experienced with using that you want to share? What tip do you have to provide? Or maybe you just want to learn and hear from others. So don't feel that you have to have a presentation, that you have to share things in chat. It's more about a discussion. If you have some things that you want to share with your colleagues, feel free, but it's not a time to have presentations, more just a time to share ideas. And then the rule of 2 feet or clicks in this situation. If you feel like I've heard enough or this isn't meeting my needs, then you always have the option to jump to another session to hear some additional topics or participate in another conversation. So don't feel that you have to stay there for that entire time if it's not meeting your needs. And then lastly, we want to make sure that we're having positive contributions within our sessions. So we want to make sure that our conversation is talking about the things that are working well, and if things aren't working well, possible solutions on how we can solve those things. So let's try and keep our conversations positive within our sessions. So for our logistics and how we will make this work, we're going to ask that you respect our norms. We're going to have 2 rounds, 2 sessions. Each one will be 15 minutes in length. You'll get to pick which topics you want to go to. Again, if you need to jump around, that's fine. It will be the same topics in both of the sessions. And then in between, we'll have about a 2-minute transition period so that people can move to that next room. We do have a collaborative note-taking document that is available for each room, and we encourage you to take notes on that note-taking document so that not only you can go back and refer to it, but others who may not have been able to attend your session or that particular session can always check out the notes and see some of the tips or information that was shared. So let's talk about our schedule. This is based on your feedback from the survey and the things that we saw that rose to the top. So Canvas, no surprise, because we've been talking about Canvas all year. So that was definitely a hot topic that people would like to discuss. Game-based learning, we saw a lot of things about alternatives to Kahoot or other games that you could use to enhance learning or video games. So that might be a session if you're interested in learning about those types of things. You might want to go there and hear from your colleagues. Coaching and engagement. We saw things in the survey about talking about PICRAD or new teacher onboarding or building respect and rapport amongst your colleagues. And how can you do PD in various ways? So if that is something that you're thinking about, then that may be the room that you want to visit. We have engagement and differentiating learning for students, reaching all of our learners. That room was to target some of the things that we saw, like how do I work with my special ed students or my primary learners? What things are available for them? What can I do in small group instruction or for interventions? If that's the things that you're thinking about or that you were interested in sharing, then you might want to visit that room. Video, your favorite tech tool, that's the opportunity to share about different technology that you are using in the classroom. And for some of us that were looking for the what's new, you might find some tips in there as well. And then we have video, our literacy instruction, and then computer science. And computer science was for all of our participants that were looking to talk about Scratch or robotics, Minecraft, coding. Those were the things that we saw come up, and we felt that that could go into that computer science group. So those are our sessions. I'm going to drop, we're going to go to breakout rooms soon. So Marianne is going to set up those different breakout rooms for us. And in chat, I'm going to drop a link to that schedule so that if you forget what each room is or want to access those note-taking documents, you can click on the link that I just placed in chat, and that should allow you to see that same schedule with the notes. Marianne, are we ready to?
Yes, it's open.
Okay, it's open. You can go ahead and start joining for your first session. And facilitators, if you would also go to your rooms as well.
Okay, it looks like a combination of often and a few times. Oh, and yes, I do know a lot of the media specialists and librarians are using for Write a Book. All right, so advanced features with Book Creator. When you get access to the ETL PDLT presentation for today, it'll be posted in Canvas. We'll also have this presentation linked in it as well, so you can refer back to it. So the accessibility features in Book Creator makes learning accessible. And some of the features here, we've included little snapshots or examples and videos of the different accessibility features that are available. So the first one is speech to text. So I'm just going to actually demonstrate it here so you can see. So I'm going to come back to my library. Oops, wrong tab. That I had an example here. I'm just going to create a new book really quick. So with speech to text, it allows, what's great about Book Creator is that it makes it accessible for all students. So it's not just you need to be able to read and type, but you can include things like speech to text. So I can click the plus sign and add an item. And there's an option for text. So when I click text, I can start typing, or I could just use the microphone on the top right. When using it for the first time, the students may need to select allow to give access to the microphone. But once you've given access, it should stay that way. So for example, here is my microphone. I'll click allow. And now it just starts typing for me as I keep talking. And then when I'm done, I'll just click stop. And there is speech to text. This is really good, especially for littles. If they are not familiar with spelling and typing, they don't need to worry about that. They can use the speech to text in there. So I'm going to go ahead and click done. And then they can just see it and move it anywhere. And yes, it is also great for yourself. The next feature is add captions to video. So if you have, you can record a video and embed it in here, but it can also add captions to it, and it will auto generate. So I'm just gonna come here. That's what I really like. Who has time to type all of those things in there? I do have a video. What did it? See if I can resize here. Going to add. My video. Did my screen just freeze? I think so. I hope everyone can still hear me because my screen just froze. There we go. Okay, so my screen, I don't know what part was shown. I apologize, my computer froze for a moment, but I had a video that I already recorded previously, and I just dragged it into Book Creator. So I'm letting that load for a moment. So there we go, it is now loaded. To do the captions, you need to select it, the video, go to the eye on the top right, and then below it says add captions. When I select it, you need to choose the language that you're speaking in, and it will automatically put the captions for it. It will not translate for you. So if you were speaking in English and you want it in Spanish, it will not translate here, but it needs to translate whatever language you're speaking. So if you're speaking in Spanish, you need to select Spanish. For this one, I'm speaking in English, so I chose English. And then I can enter it manually, but no one has time for that. So I'm going to go to generate automatically. And this one, depending on how long your video is, this one tells me that it takes me 1 minute, but I can continue go back and continue working on my book while it's generating the captions. So I'll give a moment for that one and I'll move on to the next feature. Okay. The other one is add transcript to audio recordings. So just like adding captions to your videos, you can do the same thing for your recording. So while this one is still loading, I could see it's, is it showing now? No. I will go ahead and do a recording. I'm going to click plus, select record. I'm going to click on this to start recording. Let it count down. Hello, welcome to my book. It's an awesome book. I'll select stop. This is where I can review if I like it or not. We're going to pretend it's perfect. And it gives you the little speech bubble. To do the transcript, you need to select it, select the I, and just like add caption, for a audio recording, you'll select add transcript. And again, you can have it generate automatically or enter manually. So I'm going to go ahead and select generate. And again, this will take some time to process depending how long it is. And you can continue working on your book even though it's still processing. I'm going to double check if this one's working. Yep, there it is. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. So let me make sure I am sharing my sound. Here we go. Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to our class. So I'm going to pause it. Oh, it didn't show here, but you should see there's captions showing right onto here. Okay. And then for the recording, when there is a transcript and it's done, you'll see a little speech bubble next to it. So they can click on it and read it for themselves, whatever is transcribed in the audio recording. So instead of listening to it, they can read it. And if you realize that there is a mistake, you can click edit and make changes to it. There is I did see someone's question about Flipgrid. There are some apps that you can use for embedding, which I'll be showing just a little bit later. And it does take some time if it is a long recording. I recommend having the student put it into chunks so that it doesn't take too long to process, or at least chunk them out, because 15 minutes is a really long time for talking. So especially for students. So even though it may take, it doesn't say if a book creator has a limit to it, but 15 minutes is kind of long. So try to have them at least try to chunk it out because it is a very long time. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. The next feature is navigating with the keyboard. So what's really cool is that any item or object that you have in your book, instead of using your mouse to click and drag, they can use the mouse the keyboard arrows to move objects on the screen. It does take a little bit longer, but if anyone doesn't have issues with using a mouse or a trackpad, they can use the keyboard. So I'm just gonna click, let me just add an image instead here, just to make it easier. I'll just add this shape. And you can't see me pressing on my keyboard, but I can use the arrows on my keyboard. And you can see that it's moving right now, very slowly because I'm just doing a few at a time. But this is another feature that students can use if they're able to use their keyboard and not able to use their mouse or the trackpad. Okay, so I'm using the arrows just to move it. And then they will use the tab to choose different things on the screen. So right now you can see the word undo is circled. I'm using tab to navigate through the page. Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to our class. The next feature is auto draw, which is my favorite feature on here. So even though you may not be really good at drawing, you can use auto draw. I'm going to go to a new page here. I go to the plus and select the pen option. These are the different tools that you can choose from. And the last one here is called Auto Draw. It has a little pen with little sparkles. So I can try my best to try to draw something, and it's going to use AI to try to figure out what you're drawing to the best of my ability. I'm going to use my mouse here and try to draw a cup. And then you'll see it's like, did you mean this? And you can see there's more. I could try to add more detail to it to help me figure out. And I can use these different images. So I really like this hot cup of coffee. It should be warm weather, but it hasn't been lately. But here is an example of a cup with a nice warm cup of coffee or hot cocoa or tea. And that's the different things I can use in here. And I can probably try to include a table. Here's a rectangle. See if it can figure it out. Yep, it did. So here I can choose this table. So it makes my pictures look a lot more nicer looking. So that is Auto Draw. I'll come out of it. Click done. And it makes it as one whole image. So if you have multiple auto draws, you did it all at once, it will keep it as one. So if you want to make them separate, you'll have to click done and then open the pen again so that you can move them individually. So more accessibility features. So this is the more. The more here is some of the things that Book Creator has recently added. So it has that little rocket ship icon. The first one is files. So you can add files to Book Creator. However, it may not embed directly in it, but it will link to it. So I'm just going to show you what that means here. Hold a new page. I click the plus sign, and there is media, there are shapes, and the last one is more. And right now I have included apps. The first one I'm going to talk about is files. If I click files, I can upload files from my computer. So I'm just going to use, so it could be images, it could be docs, but I'll just do an image for now. Here is my Bitmoji, and you can embed it directly in here. So, and then I can take it and resize it. What you could also do as a shortcut, if you have an image and you want to put it in here, you don't have to go to that plus and more and files, which is a lot of clicking. If you know where your image is, so I have this little folder of images, and I want to include, for some reason, I want to include this banner that I've created. I can click and drag it. You'll notice here it says drop file here to upload. Give it a moment to load. And then here I have a PGCPS campus homepage banner, and I can embed it right here. So they're both ways. You can do it from the plus, more, and files, or you can just simply drag the image over. The other more option is embedding. So any tool that you have that you want to embed directly into Book Creator, you will need an embed code. So anything that has this less than / greater than sign, if you have an embed code, you can embed it in here. Some of them you do need, it will embed directly and you can play it like the YouTube video, or it's gonna be a link icon to take them there. And I'll show you what that means. So I have here, let me show you the Google slide. So I have a Google slide presentation here, and I want to embed it into my Book Creator. So if I click File and select Publish to the Web, if you're doing it for the first time, you do need to click Publish and Allow. So I'm going to click Publish and press OK. And it will give me a link. But what I want is the embed. So I'm going to select Embed. And here is the code that I need. So I'm going to select all of this. Oops, too many. Copy it. Come back to Book Creator. Go to More. And select the embed. Here I'm going to paste the code. And I'm going to select Confirm. Gives it a moment. I can even add a title. It automatically takes it from whatever code is, but you can change it if you want to. And I'm going to select Add. So if it's a Google slide, and it will be embedded like this. And in order for them to access it, they will click on it, and it will open within Book Creator in a present mode. And they can navigate through the Google slide. Or they have an option to select Open in a new window. So I'm going to close that. So that one was embedding from with a Google slide. And yes, if you're doing a Google slide, you do need to publish it in order for you to get the embed code. And then a YouTube video that you can use. Oops. So I'm just gonna open YouTube here. And you can get the embed code from any YouTube video that you have. So I'm just going to look up Book Creator as an example. So we're going to pretend we're going to use this Book Creator video. So I'm going to go to this one, pause. And right below it in YouTube, you'll select Share. And there are different options that you can use to share. The one we're going to use is the embed. So I'll select embed. Here is the full code. I'm going to select copy. Come back to Book Creator. Plus more embed. And then I'll paste that. Confirm. I can change the title if I want to. And select add. With this, it goes directly on here. It doesn't have to open in a separate window or a window within a window, and I can click play. And the Book Creator video,
Hi
YouTube
guys,
video
I'm
can. So I'll just pause that, it's kind of loud. So that is embedding. So if you're using a Google Doc or Google Slide or anything with an embed code, some of them may show like this YouTube video or like an icon if it's a Google slide. And the last one, yes, is adding apps. So recently Book Creator included where you can use apps, but right now they're still adding more to their library. I'm going to click the plus sign and go to more. So I've already added the app Canva, but you can go to add apps. It's going to take you to this page, and these are the different things that you can add. Right now they only have 8 things. And some of these we don't recommend because we only recommend for the teachers to use if they wanted to add it in here, because some of them like Bitmoji students don't have those accounts. They won't be able to do this one, but I'm going to use Google Drive here as an example. So if you're adding any app for the first time, you'll click the plus. It's going to ask you to enable. And then you can even look at which library in your Book Creator, not Campus, in Book Creator where you want to add it, or you can have that available in all of your libraries. So I'm just going to select all for now and select done. Then I will go back to my library. Let's go back to this page, plus sign, more, and you'll see Google Drive is now an app that I've already enabled and added. If I click on Google Drive, this is where I can go ahead and find files that's in my Google Drive and include in here. So I'm just going to look for advanced features with Book Creator. Give that a moment to load. Here it is. And click select. Gives it a moment. Don't know why it's in a different language, but I'll say advanced. Book creator. Select add. And now it is a hyperlink to the presentation. So if I click on this, it will open in a new tab. So that one is Google Drive. If you enable Canva, and I'm a huge Canva fan, if you use your PGCPS account, you can get a free education account, and it has more premium type of resources that are free. So let me move this out of the way. If I click plus, go to more. I've already enabled it. So if you want to enable it, make sure you go to the add apps. I'm going to select Canva. And this is a way where you can create something on Canva and then put it into your book. So here's a template I'm just going to use randomly here. And then typically I'm using Canva from its own website right here within Book Creator. So I don't have to go to another tab or another window. So I could say Book Creator. Go back down here. So I'll just keep that there for now. And if I'm done, if I think it's perfect, I can select at the top, add to book. Gives it a moment. While that's loading, it's going to take up the whole page of whatever design I created. So there's more features and templates and images that students can use through Canva, and they can put it in Book Creator. So I'm going to let that load for a moment. But so that is adding apps. We have about a few minutes left. But I'm going to give you this time to go ahead and try out some of the features. And what you're going to do is add a page to our collaborative book, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Type your name and school, and we're going to do work in the book called EduSlam, where you can share a tech tool or tech tip that you want to share with others, and try out some different accessibility features that you want to include. So I'm going to come back here. Oh, there we go. So now it took over everything that was on this page. And this is the image that it took from Canva. And I can resize it and include it here within the book. So that's the page that I made in Book Creator. I'm going to come back here. In a moment, you're going to be joining our SY 22 ETL PDLT group. Library. And when you click on it, there are quite a few books. So the first three is EduSlam. We have it divided by last names. So A through I is the first book, J through Q, and R through Z. And each book, if you open it, you will add a page, add your name and school, and then share another tech tool or tech tip you want to share with others. And then while you're doing that, try some of the different accessibility features on that page. So to add a page, you're going to click on we've added there's quite a few people have already started, but you will need to add a page. You're already starting on it. So I'm going to give you the time to go ahead and add. Select the book with your last name on it. You said point number 3. So point number 3 is on that page, I want you to share a tech tool or a tech tip that you want to share with others. So for me, my tech tip tool would be Canva. Canva is like my world, my everything. And I'm like a huge design kind of person, but I don't have time to create things from scratch. So Canva is my tool. I'm going to share the code in just a moment. So yes, share a tech tip or tech tool that you think is really interesting that others can learn from. So yes, here, ooh, wrong one. Here we go. So here is the code. So when you go to Book Creator, when you sign in, I'm going to come over here so that you can see from the beginning. At the bottom in your dashboard or your library, you're going to select Join a Library, and you're going to put in the code Y9C72DL, and I'll type that in chat as well. Y9C72DL. So there is no link for me to share. You just need the code in order for you to join the library. So make sure you're signed into your account. Select Join a Library. Last name of your name, not by your school name. Yes. So right now we created a library that everyone can collaborate on. So yeah, now there's 112 people that have joined on here. And whenever you have a book that you've already started or just kept it blank, there is a little share icon at the bottom, and then you can do collaboration. I've already turned this on for this one, so let me go to a different one. Okay, so if I click on the share icon, which looks like a less than sign, collaboration, let me stop it here. I'll start over. Collaborate, and then I can choose everyone in the library can start working on it, or I can select start collaboration, and then it will give you an invite code. This is the code that you need to share with your students so that they can all work on it. Students won't be able to, they need to join your library in order for them to start creating their books. So this is a library that I created. I can sometimes think of library as my class, so I could see all the books within that class. It's 5:28. I'll give you 2 more minutes. And if you happen to finish that earlier, you can move on to the other 4 books at the end. So there's a purple and red. The purple one is for the ETL, and it's divided by school level. This is the assignment that Tanya was talking about earlier. So I'll give about 1 more minute and then I'll explain this more again. All right. So it's okay if you're not finished. Once you join the library, you can always go back to your Book Creator account and you should see the SY22 ETL/PDLT. But I just want to make sure I explain some last things before I let you go back to the main room. So Tanya explained end of the year celebration. So it's a requirement for you to do a page in Book Creator and talk and share how did your school spark change this school year. You can include details about your book. We'll be include details and then complete the book by our final meeting. We will share it. And let me come back here. So the purple ones are for ETLs. The first one is for ECC and elementary school. The next one is for middle school and high school. So whatever school level you're in, you will choose that book and add a page to it. And then it's the same thing again, but for PDLT. So the red books are for PDLTs. There's one for ECC and elementary school. And the next one is middle school and high school. And once you have completed your page within your book, you'll take a screenshot of it and post that in Canvas for ETLs. I believe the PDLTs are using Google Classroom. So when you share and show show proof that you've completed it, you'll take a screenshot of the page that you did in the book and post it there. And then lastly, we've included in the presentation, when you get access to it, some resources more on Book Creator and some leveled resources for elementary, middle school, and high school. And that is it. And if you have any questions, you can always email me or email your T3 person, or just go to t3@pdcps.org if you have more questions about Book Creator. It's now 5:31 and I don't want to hold you guys too long, and you can start navigating back to the main room.
So as we come back, we thank you so much for this evening of sharing. We gave you a little bit of information about Book Creator. You were able to be able to share some ideas and things in the breakout room. So hopefully you all took good notes so that you can go back and take a look. So we want to give you some time to reflect and wrap up. Again, we started with Book Creator, and even though the time was short, hopefully it gave you a little bit enough to be dangerous, gave you an opportunity to go in and practice. And I want to clarify and repeat again, for our ETLs, all of your requirements are due by May 6th. The final requirement that we just shared with you is Book Creator. So in the same library that you were in today, you saw 2 purple books alongside the ones that were there. You will actually complete your own page for your school in the book and explain how you spark change. PDLTs, you also have a red or pink color book that you will do the exact same thing. You just kind of collect some ways that your schools have sparked change. If you are both an ETL and a PDLT, you can make just the same page, just put it in both books. You don't have to recreate the wheel. Just put the same page in both books. But we will share detailed directions in our respective Google Classrooms and Canvas communities so that you are very clear about how to get back into the book and what to do as your next steps. All right. The page, just one page, is due May 6th. That's the culminating activity. And all the other assignments that we've been sharing for ETLs are due by May 6th. All right. And so hopefully it gives you some ideas, not just for that final activity that you have to do, but also maybe some ways that I heard in our room, some ways that you can share PD or things that you might know, or ways that you can extend this to your students and the ways that students can use Book Creator. So hopefully you have some ideas brewing in the back of your mind. And then we just spent some time with the EdCamp. And I'm sure that there was lots of sharing and gathering of ideas from your colleagues. So think about something that either you can use for yourself, or maybe, you know, a teacher or two that might be struggling with something and you heard something today that might help that particular teacher. Hopefully you can go back and share. And then lastly, we're going to ask that you complete the session evaluation in the next 5 minutes before you go. As always, the ETL attendance is being collected based on the Zoom report, but I believe that Victoria or Tanya will share a link to the form in chat for the PDLT attendance. I see some people are writing it in chat. I'm also going to ask one of my colleagues, actually, I can drop the link to the evaluation in chat.
And the PDLT sign-in is in the chat. Tanya, if you can drop it in again, you will click on the link. PDLT, you click on the link and add your information into that Google form, and that's how we'll capture your attendance.
All right, so the PDLT attendance link and the evaluation is in chat. ETL attendance, again, we're collecting it via the Zoom report. We thank you so much, as always, for being here. We have one more meeting on June the 1st. That is our final meeting of the year, but we do want to point out that for ETLs, we have our office hours. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop in on April 5th between 3 and 4. Again, that will be posted in our ETL Canvas community as well. So if you have questions, feel free to drop in then. But we thank you for being here. As always, have a wonderful evening, and thank you for everything that you're always doing.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Good night, everyone.
I always feel like we should have some parting music, like as soon as you finish talking, then the music starts.
Music kicks off.
Yeah. Once the evaluation is complete, thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful evening.